That's better. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
I always sit here with a magic 8-ball, and I just asked if we were going to have a good episode, and it said, cannot predict now. Of course.
Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Here we go. Demons Discuss. Take 54. The One With the Defenestration. Welcome to Demons Discuss, the unofficial podcast about the All Souls universe and the topics that orbit it. We are your hosts, Angela, Jean, and Valerie. I am Valerie, and with me, as always, is Angela and Jean. Hello.
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 And what are we talking about today, Angela?
Chapter 28, Shadow of Night. Further meet Rudolf and his cabinet of curiosities.
A merry band of artists
Yes.
and gossips.
Yes.
This podcast is sponsored by our listeners who have opted to become patrons. Sponsors like some of our latest, Ginny and Amy and Betsy and Kirsty and Jennifer and Lisa. We see you and we thank you for your wonderful pledges. We've recently updated our tier system. We've added rewards, changed out a design of one of them. Hopefully they arrive to my house soon. Hopefully. And we added a tier. Yay.
Yay.
But it's sold out. But we may open up a slot or two for more patrons in upcoming months, and depends how we feel. So, Jean, be the voice of persuasion. Why should non-patron listeners join in? What's behind the curtain?
What's behind the curtain? Well, on the off weeks, they're really off because you get our after show.
Which is our... They're off.
We're off.
Of God knows what, and with the way things are unfolding this summer, it's going to be an extra wild ride.
Oh, yes.
As you move up the tiers, you get different kinds of swag, like stickers and pouches and totes and
T-shirts now.
T-shirts now.
Yeah.
T-shirts now and some extra special VIP treatment at the very highest levels.
I have to say, I saw a new design of something yesterday, and it was pretty cool.
Oh, I love it. You guys will love it. Well, actually, you guys will probably have seen it as of
that's true.
the time you're listening to this. So,
Which design are we talking about?
Something
tour
to do with
sticker.
the book tour, yeah.
Oh. I just made that yesterday, and I'm just like, what did we? What?
they're hearing this in the middle of tour week. So
That's true. Okay. Yes, that was a pretty cool design.
we're time walking forward here, Val.
That's right. I got lost. I splintered off. I got distracted.
you let go of the root of the tree, didn't you?
I know. I saw a squirrel and said, whoo, what's that over there? Okay, guys, so if you're interested, check it out. Go to patreon.com/demonsdiscuss. So on to our discusser emails. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I have one from first-time participating discusser, Kayla.
Hey, Kayla. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. She says, Kayla Rose here from Washington, D.C. Longtime listener, first time participating as a discusser, and I just love you three in the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Chapter 28 starts off with several funny bits, at least to me. The other women's shameless hunger for gossip after Diana saw the Emperor's private rooms, Jack's comments about the statue not wearing any clothes, and isn't she cold? And Gallowglass being cuffed by Teresa for his smart mouth.
Yeah.
That cracked me up.
But his astute
dirty boy.
observation.
Yeah.
This was paired with the realization that Rudolph will only continue to escalate his obsession with Diana, and I think Matthew's comments about the statue drove that home for me. When he talks about Rudolph coveting people just the same as objects, it sends chills down my spine. The idea that the congregation goes along with this to appease him and even feeds his appetites is also gross to me, though not surprising.
Yeah.
I love the connections between the women in Prague and how they are described. It was interesting that this was how Diana ended up getting access to Edward Kelley, although poor Joanna Kelley is clearly in a sorry state, and who can blame her? She is more or less a prisoner herself like her husband, except he gets to go out and about while she is shut away in the house with her wine and is sick all the time. After Edward Kelley's comments on burning witches to celebrate spring, I was cheering Matthew on when he held him out the window. Then Diana uses her powers to see that Kelley is about to strike her. Do you ladies think that is some form of seeing the future, or is it just her picking up on his intentions? I tend to think it's more his intentions she is sensing, but let me know your thoughts. Anyway, this chapter certainly ends with an uneasy feeling that there is much more trouble to come before we leave Prague. Hoping to send in many more discusser emails, and thanks for reading some of my thoughts. Kayla.
Thanks, Kayla.
Thank you, Kayla.
Reference your question. I don't think they're mutually exclusive as far as looking into the future and anticipating his actions.
Yeah.
I think it could have been like a flash. She just got a flash of what he was about to do and reacted. So it could be a combination of both. I don't know how the
think
powers
so.
actually work.
I think it's almost instinct too, or intuition.
Yeah.
Just like her killing Juliet. And that's still fresh in my memory from seeing the last episode of Discovery Witches. But just that was her instinct what to do, and that's how she solved the problem.
Yeah.
And Kelly's kind of weird too. He's the one that has a strand that connects to them.
Yep.
Yeah, he puts out his own vibes.
So I think it's maybe a combination of intention, and maybe she is more attuned to him than she might be to other run-of-the-mill creatures. Kind of like the way she was so in tune with Rakasa, like she could read the horse's mind. That kind of is what felt like was going on with Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Gene, what do you have?
Oh, I have an email from our discusser, Chloe.
Hey, Chloe.
Chloe.
Hello, Demon Divas. I am so thrilled to get this email because I have good news. A friend was borrowing my copies of the books, but I have them back now so I can do a proper chapter review.
Yay!
It's time to get shiny. I actually enjoyed the chapters in Prague because they were so strange. It was something different. Gallo Glass acting when Matthew can't is comforting because you know that Diana always has someone at her back. I found the king amusing when he flirted with Diana only because I imagine Matthew in full blood rage. The fact that we find Ashmal 782 makes me excited that the mystery is going to be solved. I have read these books before, but it's still exciting when I read it. One of my favorite scenes in the book is Matthew holding Kelly out the window, threatening for information. I love the darker sides of Matthew when he acts like the dangerous vampire he is. Love the show as always. I can't believe we've almost finished Sun, Your Vampire Down Under, Chloe.
Oh, thank you, Chloe.
Thank you, Chloe.
Okay, so I have two. I'm going to call them the Rachels.
The Rachels.
The Rachels. We have two Rachels today.
The one with the Rachels.
The one with the Rachels. First one is from Rachel Van Patten, reading the last names because we have two. She says, hello, demons. It's been a few weeks since I've read the books, which I burned through in about a week so I can catch up on the show. But two things from chapter 28 really stuck with me. How lovely Deb's description of the city and its inhabitants are, and how truly awful Rudolf is. He's totally that guy. If I had a nickel for every time someone had encountered that dude who just doesn't give a shit that you're not on the market, we'd all be retired and drinking on the beach somewhere. As always, looking forward to hearing your collective thoughts and insights on the chapter, Rachel. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
And from Rachel number 2, Rachel Costello. She says, hello, ladies. I am a new discusser. I haven't caught up with your current podcast yet. Anyway, I saw your prompt and had to answer in an email because both I and my husband work from home, so I had the time. I wanted to say during these series of chapters, I have always related to Matthew. My husband is an extremely handsome man, and women are constantly flirting with him. I never understood why people think Matthew has control until this plot line. Every time a woman flirts with my husband, I cannot help but say something snarky, especially since they're flirting with him and we're standing so close together. It's obvious that we're in a relationship. The first time I read this book, it was an audiobook form, and the voice character actor was so talented, I instantly thought this Emperor guy was creepy. We did, before we started recording, we said, he sounds like a demented Muppet.
Yes, definitely.
I giggle at all the gifts Diana receives and love the necklace Matthew gives Diana. Anyway, having been to Prague before, I can see the city as Deborah had written it. I even saw the Alchemical Museum in person, but I wish I can go back and see it through the new lens of A Discovery of Witches. Have a nice day, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
Oh, God. I was on Matthew's side this whole fucking time.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like he's trying to keep it all together, and it's just not happening for him because Rudolph is being a dick.
Oh, God, a huge dick.
I mean, the first time around, though, and this is a spoiler alert, so mute your phone or us for 10 seconds if you don't want to hear from the Book of Life, my thoughts on the Book of Life. I just thought it was jealousy, but now I can feel it's the mating instinct. And like Diana really could have used a coin right now to send him, just to calm him down. And it's going to be okay.
Talk him off the ledge.
Yes.
I still got you, boo. I still got you.
Yes.
I'm not leaving. I'm still here.
But you know when you're jealous like that, or the mating instinct, I mean, you're irrational. You think everybody.
Well,
Fuck yeah.
He's kind of irrational, but on the other hand, it's like he also knows that. I kind of get the feeling that Diana's underestimating Rudolph a little bit, and she just sees him as kind of a boob and a buffoon, and Matthew's kind of also raging because it's like, oh, he may be stupid, but he's cunning, and he's
Rudolph
got a lot of
knows
power.
what he's doing.
And it's not something to trifle with Diana. This isn't like the little undergrad who's got a crush on you in your survey class.
Yeah, no. Rudolph knows exactly what he's doing. And it's worked before.
And nobody's going to
obviously.
And Matthew's also very right when he says nobody's going to tell him no.
Well,
No.
and that's just it. That's what's worrisome to me is that they're at a time where you can get arrested, you can get taken, you can get put into a position that you don't want to be in. And sure, Matthew might be able to get him out with the help of Philippe, but it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And a lot can happen in that while.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Not fans of Rudolph, apparently.
No.
All right, guys, let's start the wagon right here. And this chapter discussion is brought to you by Jennifer Wood. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you,
Sassy, thank you.
We left off in chapter 27 with Matthew and Diana in Rudolph's presence. Rudolph was already showing a lot of interest in Diana, not in good ways.
Yeah.
And they leave both us and Matthew feeling very uneasy.
We could make this a drinking game. You should just record Gene going, oh. And every time you hear that play.
Yeah, I'd be like, drink.
Especially in this section of the book, because it's just like, it makes my flesh crawl.
Whether it's coffee or gin, go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Drink up, guys. All right. So we open up chapter 28 and Diana is making herself part of the fabric of her neighborhood in Prague by mingling with the ladies of the local open market. So what did you guys think of this when we open up and we see Diana just chatting?
The Real Housewives of Prague really have a thing about cabbage.
Yes.
It's like they are obsessed with cabbage, for God's sake. What? I'm Czech. And it's like, what is it with the cabbage?
I don't know. Do you not like cabbage?
I
Are
love
you not
cabbage.
a fan? I love cabbage
no,
too.
I love cabbage, but it's like, and there are some cabbage dishes that we make traditionally, but we're not obsessed with it to this level.
I'm like the Forrest Gump of cabbage. Or I like red cabbage. I like green cabbage. I like pickled cabbage. I like
Steamed cabbage. My
God,
favorite is like steamed cabbage, I
Yes.
think. Yeah.
I'm feeling cabbage and bacon tonight. Maybe I'll make some.
Oh, wow. That's
Napa,
delicious.
now, Napa cabbage, which isn't technically a cabbage, makes really good slaw.
Ooh.
I love slaw. I'm a sucker for that.
Vinegary slaw or creamy slaw?
Either or. I'm not picky.
Yeah, me neither.
I make both.
Do a hybrid because I'll use both the kind of a mayonnaise base, but I put enough sherry
Vinegar and
Yeah.
sugar.
sherry vinegar in it, so it's like tangy.
There is like one recipe that I use for coleslaw, but you have to shred the cabbage, otherwise it doesn't taste right. You have to shred it like on a cheese grater.
Oh.
And it releases some sort of juices, magical juices. And I'm telling you. Mwah. And that tastes really well with the vinegar
Yummy.
slaw or the mayonnaise-based slaw.
Now,
So
do you use like caraway seed or celery seed or anything with it?
I use celery seed often, but not a lot because it's overtaking.
Yeah, I like to put a little bit of celery seed in my tuna salad.
That's interesting.
I know.
Anyway,
I'm
getting hungry.
Sorry,
I know.
folks. It's like we're recording at lunchtime on the weekends.
I know.
Yeah.
Sort
This
of
may not
hungry.
be the last time food comes up.
Well, I just wanted to say I love the marketplace banter here and the rumors swirling about what
Oh, I know.
Rudolph actually had in his place.
And the werewolf.
The werewolf, yes.
It's like, God, why do the werewolves keep coming up in this in Shadow of Night? It's just almost comical.
Okay, we open up with, did you see the werewolf, Frau Reuden? He is the Emperor's gamekeeper, and my neighbor, Frau Habernamel, has heard him howling at the night. They say he feeds on the imperial deer running the stag moat.
He's not much of a gamekeeper.
No, he's
Yeah,
not.
I was going to say, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten fired.
Right.
So do you think this guy's a vampire if he's feeding on the deer?
No, I think Frau Habernal is like hitting mommy's little helper a little too much.
She's reading the pamphlets, the Peter Stew pamphlets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Frau Huber picked up the cabbage in her gloved hand and gave it a suspicious delicious sniff. You know, the cabbage. It's got to be good.
Can't let the serviceman shop for the cabbage because that's
Fuck no. They don't do right.
Done.
So Herr Huber had been a merchant at London Steelyard, and though she bore no love for the city, she spoke English fluently. And then Signorina Rossi says, Pa, there's no werewolf. She says, my Stefano tells me there are many demons in the palace. However, the bishops at the cathedral wish to exorcise them, but the emperor refuses. So demons, people, I mean, these are humans acknowledging there are demons, but they need to be exorcised, apparently. Jeez.
Yeah, jeez.
Don't we all?
Rude.
Although I have to say,
about a different kind of exorcism.
Yeah.
Exorcising.
I was going to say, not so in the distant past, mental illness was taken for possession.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, so Diana sets them straight. She said, I saw no werewolves or demons, but I did see one of the emperor's new paintings. And, you know, she's trying to distract these chicks.
Yeah,
so
I love it.
She goes, it showed Venus rising from her bath.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
And they're like, oh my God, girl, really?
I'm scandalized.
I know. One of them says, Emperor Rudolf needs a wife, a good Austrian woman who will cook for him, because that's going to fix everything.
Right.
And then she'll cook him cabbage for sure.
Good cabbage.
Good cabbage, not bad cabbage.
Diana's musing here. News of our admittance to Rudolph's private apartments preceded our return to the Three Ravens, and the ladies of Malestrana were lying in wait the next morning, eager for my impressions. After that, you know, imperial messengers started showing up, packages started showing up, and it's just like, really? What's going on? It's like they opened up a can of worms, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
She didn't even go on Amazon. These packages just started arriving.
Well, and then the Bank of de Clermont opens.
Yes.
Which I thought was like
Yes.
very interesting.
It was very loan sharky to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, is he running a loan shark business? How does this actually work?
What I thought is very interesting is that generally banking was left to those of the Jewish persuasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Here we've got Matthew.
Who's competing.
Yeah.
A competing factor. Okay, so she gets a package and she's like wondering, what could it be? And Matthew's
What
like,
could it be?
something we'll regret receiving, I warrant. And he's jamming the quill into the ink pot, causing eruptions.
I can't wait to see this because it's going to be like writing so hard that it's like tearing the paper and it's just like.
He's very obviously irritated right here. And he warns her, Rudolph is a collector, Diana. He's not simply interested in narwhal horns and
Narwhal.
narwhal. Okay. And bezoar stones. He covets people as well as objects and is as unlikely to part with them once they're in his possession. She goes like Kelly and she's like, but I'm not for sale. And he's like, we're all for sale, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
And that's why I'm like right there is the whole, well, she's underestimating him. Like, okay, I've got this under control. It's like, you're not a femme fatale to begin with, Diana. You really don't have this under control.
No.
Right.
And Matthew's been around for a very long time and he's seen this movie before.
Yep.
And he doesn't like the ending, especially
all.
when it comes to his wife, right?
Yeah, I would have to say so.
So what did you think of this statue of Diana, this elaborate drinking game that it wanted to be?
Well, apparently she was very nipply, according to Kelly.
Yes.
Okay, so the latest gift is described as a 2-foot-tall gold and silver statue of the goddess Diana, naked except for her quiver, riding side saddle.
Her quiver. God, you could take that a lot of ways.
Oh my God. You're killing me, Chief.
I've just gotten started.
Oh, okay. It's too early in the episode.
Blame it on Rudolph.
Oh, God. Okay. She was riding side saddle in the back of a stag with her ankles demurely crossed. I mean,
that's going to help things.
I know. It's all hanging out there anyway. Why are you crossing your legs at this point? But whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
And a pair of hunting dogs sat at her feet.
She's ladylike.
She's dainty. She's modest. She's got her quiver after all. Okay.
And then Gallowglass is kind of like, I kept picturing the cartoon big guy where his eyes kind of like bug out of his head.
Boing.
I I don't think Gallowglass. I think Jack.
Yeah.
I think Gallowglass is like, I've seen a dozen these how many times?
Yeah, I'm sure. So Gallowglass says, I'd say the Emperor has made his desires known in this case, okay?
I'm not loving.
This thing had a small key. And it was embedded in the base, and you turn it, and it runs down the table, and wherever it stops, take a drink. It's a great drinking game. I would love to have this thing. Sounds like a really great drinking game. Anyway, and Diana's like, hey, look at this. And Gallowglass is like, you're in no danger of losing Uncle's attention. It was true. Matthew was staring angrily at the statue.
Oh, this whole exchange is so funny.
It's hilarious. And here comes Jack. Is it a toy? Is it for me? Why is that lady not wearing any clothes? Isn't she cold?
Yeah, she's cold. I love this so much. I hope this scene makes the show because it's just like Teresa beating him on the head and him holding the kid by the collar. Oh my God, it's hilarious.
So Gallowglass peered at the statue's breasts. Jack, I'd say she's cold. And then Teresa just cuffs him on the head. Teresa's just trying to look out for these people.
I know. It's like, God, it's getting unruly in here. All of you out.
So Matthew says, it's an automaton, Jack. This one is meant to run down the Emperor's dinner table. And when it stops, the person closest must drink from the stag's neck. And then he goes, why don't you show Annie what it does? And he looks at Gallowglass and says, yeah, take them out of here. And he looks at Diana and says, we need to talk. And it's like, oh, shit. Yeah, there's problems. And he says, you're in dangerous territory, my love. And here's where I think an initial read, I thought, okay, he knows what's going on. He saw this from a mile away. And I think I saw it last chapter, even on first read. It's like, this Rudolf guy, he's no good. He's up to no good.
Yeah.
It's not good. So here is the rub in all this. He says, I've told the congregation that your status as my wife is a convenient fiction to protect you from the charges of witchcraft and to keep the Berwick witch hunts confined to Scotland. Diana's like, but our friends and your fellow vampires know it's more than that. And the witches know there's something more to our relationship that even meets their third eye. Matthew comes back and he says, perhaps, but Rudolf is neither a vampire or a witch. The Emperor would have been assured by his own contacts within the congregation that there's no relationship between us. Therefore, there's nothing to preclude him from chasing after you. And then he goes, I don't share Diana. And if Rudolf were to go too far, and Diana's like, no, you're going to calm your heels is what's going to happen. But she has no idea. She really doesn't.
No.
Yeah,
he's already gone worst case scenario.
Oh, yeah. He's looking at the big picture here, and it's like,
yeah, she thinks he just wants to stare at her boobs. No.
And Matthew's like, staring I can handle. There's something else you should know before you go off and thank the Emperor. The congregation has fed Rudolph's appetites for women and curiosities for some time as a way to win his cooperation. So the congregation is ready to deal too.
They're pimping to him, for sure.
For real. So the congregation wouldn't hesitate to turn her over because they can't afford to have Prague fall into the hands of men like the Archbishop of Trier and his Jesuit friends. They don't want Rudolf to become another King James out for creature's blood. So they're calculating and they're thinking, hey, if we give up this one witch, because if Keith Rudolph happy, so be it.
Yeah, it's the cost of doing business. And Rudolph thinks she's a free agent.
Yeah. So the solution is wherever Diana's to visit the castle, she's to take Gallowglass, because Gallowglass has become bodyguard as well as pretzel fetcher, as well as whatever else they need Gallowglass Nursemaid, right. Babysitter.
Yes.
Man.
Temperature monitor.
Yep. Okay. And the more Rudolph sees us together, the more active his imagination can be. So he doesn't want to hang around Diana and be protective like he wants to be. So he figures Gallowglass is the next best thing to do here. And Gallowglass may be able to wheedle his way into Kelley's laboratory. My nephew is far more charming than I am, Matthew grinned, but the expression did nothing to alleviate the darkness in his eyes. Oof. On to the next thing. Gallowglass insisted he had a plan, one that would keep me from having to speak to Rudolph privately, yet will display my gratitude publicly. It wasn't until I heard the bells ringing, the hour 3, that I caught my first glimmer of what his plan might be. The crush of people trying to enter St. Vitus Cathedral through the pointed arches of the side entrance confirmed it. So there goes Sigismund. There's that name again.
Yep.
Only it belongs to a bell this time.
It's a bell, yes. And that's how you know you're in Prague, according to Galglass. Mm-hmm. There's a whole bunch of people, and Galglass is telling her, hey, it's dark in here. Give your disguising spell a good shake, he suggested. It's so dark in here that Rudolph might miss you. And so Diana's like, you telling me to get shiny? And he's like, mm-hmm. Get shiny, baby.
Get shiny, baby.
So the mass begins, and she's looking around. She's looking at the style of the cathedral. She's looking at the ceiling, and it turns out that Matthew built this ceiling. Mm-hmm. So we said last episode, the episode before, you can get caught up in all of this and be like, oh, wait, what was the point of this chapter? Okay. Yeah. So he gives her the backstory of the ceilings. He was passing through Prague long ago, and Peter Parler, the new architect, was too green for such an important commission. The first outbreak of the plague had killed most of the master masons. However, so Parler was left in charge. Matthew took him under his wing, and the two of them went a bit mad. I can't say I ever understood what he and young Peter were trying to accomplish, but it's eye-catching. He made a pretty ceiling. Mm-hmm. Do we have a picture of that ceiling somewhere?
I'm sure we do. It's almost tree-like.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I did already tweet out the automaton this morning. So,
okay.
The inspiration for it.
And my new drinking game.
And she does have a little blanket over her lap. But it's just inspiration. So, Deb tweaked it.
Yeah, tweaked it so she's naked. Okay, so after all of this, Rudolph arrives. And then Galglass is like, there he is. Rudolph had entered St. Vitus on the second floor from the enclosed walkway that I spotted spanning the courtyard between the palace and the cathedral. He was standing on a balcony decorated with colorful heraldic shields, celebrating his many titles and honors. Like the ceiling, the balcony was held up by unusually ornate vaulting, though this case it resembled the gnarled branches of a tree. Based on the breathtaking purity of the cathedral's other architectural supports, I didn't think this was Matthew's work. He took a seat. He notices Diana. I mean, she's shiny and all.
Yeah.
And he gives her a nod, and Galglass is like poking her. He's like, curtsy. Come on, do it.
Come on, let's get this over with. Let's do this right.
So she drops down, and they get through the mass. Then Rudolph just kind of scuffled off to the side. We didn't see where he went. So with the emperors and priests gone, the nave turned into a cheerful gathering place as friends exchanged news and gossip.
Now, the thing that kind of struck me just in this whole thing is how she once again misjudges him and sees it kind of like in her mind, sees him as harmless. He's shy and reserved. Oh, he seems ill at ease with being with the attention.
Yeah, but that's so funny. Well, and it's true. Diana, I don't think she has a good sense of people.
Yeah.
Normally.
Yeah, I mean,
she doesn't. But, you would find with a lot of people who are shy and reserved within a crowd of people that they don't know or understand. But when they want to make themselves acquainted with something, they go out of their way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But in this case, he wasn't necessarily in a crowd of people because he was still up in the royal box and kind of...
Right. And he didn't want to mingle with them. That's too much.
I mean, just like the Discovery Witches TV show where Gerbert and Baldwin are in the church, having a mass is very disarming.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's for show, especially back then.
So they get through the mass, no problem. All the tittering of the people began. Strata was there. So was Dr. Hayek. Mm-hmm. Diana liked the doctor, but not Strata, because Strata was a little bit snarky.
He was very social climby, too.
Yes. And here comes Joris Habernell, I guess.
Yep.
Galglass, shouldn't you be hibernating like the rest of the bears? And Galglass is like, we should all be hibernating in this weather. It's good to see you in such health, Joris. Joris goes, I would say the same about you, but since you are always healthy, I will spare us both the empty courtesy. So we know he knows what's going on. Galglass is a vampire. And so the man turns to Diana, and here's La Diosa. And then Diana's like, greeting him, and he's like, oh no, it's Diana. And he's like, oh no, it's La Diosa. Okay, because...
that's what Rudolph decided you're going to get called.
La Diosa de la Casa. Spanish for the goddess of the chase. The emperor has commanded poor Master Sprenger to abandon his latest sketches of Venus in her bath in favor of a new subject. Diana interrupted at her toilet. Yikes.
Toilet. Yes. Oof. More naked ladies. Sprenger ended up having to paint a lot of naked ladies for this guy.
I wonder I picture this guy painting a picture in the middle. He gets like whispered in his ear and he's like, oh, God damn it. Grabs a whole bunch of white paint and starts fresh, you know? He's like, God damn it. I have to redo this thing. So the guy introduces himself as Joris Hofnagel.
Yes.
And Diana states the calligrapher, and Galglass is correcting her, the artist. So, La Diosa. And so this guy knows her as La Diosa too. So the other guy wasn't joking.
We can put another link in the show notes because I know we've shared before Hofnagel's art. It's mostly like plants and leaves and stuff, but his penmanship is like calligraphy. It's beautiful.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I know people like that. Jealous.
I think we'd also have a Habermas compendium floating around somewhere too.
So he says, I am Erasmus Habermas. Would you be so kind to visit my workshop as soon as you're able? His Majesty would like you to have an astronomical compendium so as to better note the changes in the fickle moon, but it must be exactly to your liking. So this other guy's like, she's coming to me tomorrow. A portly man in his 30s pushed his way through the growing crowd. His accent was distinctly Italian. La Diosa is to sit for a portrait. His Majesty wishes to have her likeness engraved in some stone as a symbol of her permanence and his affections. Now it's getting heavy. Now it's like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yep. Miss Aroni, he does these beautiful carved gemstones and things. We've got some of his pieces.
We have pictures of those, I think, somewhere.
They look a little like cameos, don't they?
Yes.
Some of them do, yeah. And then they're like carved bases for cups and all kinds of interesting things.
So, Signore Misseroni, another Italian said, clasping his hands melodramatically to his heaving chest, I thought we understood each other. La Diosa must practice her dance if she's to take part in the entertainment next week, as the Emperor wishes. He bowed in my direction. I am Alfonso Passetti, La Diosa, His Majesty's dancing master. And then here comes Matthew.
Boom. The way, like he likes to do. Hi, I'm here.
Hi, what's up?
Popping up like Andorra.
But my wife does not like to dance, said a cool voice behind me. A long arm snaked around and took my hand, which was fiddling with the edge of my bodice. He's possessive. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But not without merit. I will say that. So he goes, do you, Moncour? The last endearment was accompanied by a kiss in the knuckles and a warning nip of the teeth, like, ow.
You bit me.
Okay, so Matthew is right on cue, as always, Joris said with a hearty laugh. How are you? Matthew comes back and says, disappointed not to find Diana at home, he said in a slightly aggrieved tone. But even a devoted husband must yield to God in his wife's affections. So Hofnagel watched Matthew closely, gauging every change of expression. I suddenly realized who this was, the great artist who was such an acute observer of nature that his illustrations of flora and fauna seemed as though they, like the creatures on Mary's shoes, could come to life. And that's what you were talking about earlier, right? Mm-hmm. Well, God is done with her for today. I think you are free to take your wife home tonight, Hofnagel said mildly. You promised to enliven what would otherwise be a very dull spring, La Diosa. For that, we are all grateful. Yeah. Diana's got some shit ahead of her, and she does not know
and
the depth of it.
I was going to say, and Galaglass just added personal assistant to his list of titles.
Right. Hofnagel lingers back, and he gives Matthew a little warning here. He says, I will keep an eye out for your wife, Shadow. Perhaps you should, too. And he says, my attention is always on my wife where it belongs. How else did I know to be here? And it's all getting very, woof.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's coming to a boiling point, it seems like.
There's a lot of undercurrent.
So, of course, forgive my meddling. The forest has ears and the fields have eyes. Hofnagel bowed. I will see you in court, La Diosa. And he's like, her name is Diana, all right? Yeah. Madame de Clermont will also serve. And then he comes back and says, here I was led to understand that it was Royden. My mistake. Hofnagel took a few steps backward. Good evening, Matthew. And so they discuss the word, I don't know how to pronounce it in Dutch, shadow. It looks like shadow on paper here.
Yeah, it didn't sound like it in the audio, but now I see it.
Yeah. And she asked, does that mean what it sounds like? And he says it's Dutch for shadow. And Elizabeth isn't the only person to call me by that name. So here we go. What is this entertainment that Signor Passetti mentioned? And Matthew goes on to explain, nothing out of the ordinary. It will no doubt be mythological in theme with terrible music and even worse dancing. Having had too much to drink, the courtiers will all stumble into the wrong bedchambers at the end of the night. 9 months later, there will be a flock of noble babes of uncertain parentage. The usual. So he tells Diana, shall we go home, La Diosa? And he was being a little bit snarky about the La Diosa part, and she picked up on it. Matthew was distant all evening, watching me with heavy eyes as I heard about the Children's Day, and Pierre brought him up to date on various happenings in Prague. The names were unfamiliar, and the narrative was so confusing that I gave up trying to follow, and I went to bed. So she's woken up. Jack's upset. He's crying in the night. And this touched me when she walks in and sees Matthew trying to soothe Jack. And he says, my bones are flying apart. And I'm like, what is it Jack is going through? He bundles him up tight against his chest so he couldn't move. He's like, shh, I've got you now. And he continued to hold Jack until only faint tremors radiated through the child's slender limbs. And then he said, all the monsters look like ordinary men tonight, Master Royden. Matthew goes back and he says, they often do, Jack. They often do. Here we go. We have this whole thing, this initial encounter. Diana's got a whole bunch of appointments with a whole bunch of people doing a whole bunch of things for Rudolf, because Rudolf had decided he likes Diana and he's going to get her somehow. So he's going to shower her with gifts, give her dancing lessons. She's going to be a star in some play. I don't know. And Matthew has to just hold it together. So I don't know if I'd be able to do that, blood rage or not. I don't think I would. I'd be like, what the fuck? We're leaving. So.
And I don't think all these people at court are fans of Diana. They have to stop what they're doing and then attend to her.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're worried that she's going to take their place.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially with the mistress. I mean, one of the artists involved in all this, his sister's the mistress.
Was it Strata? Yeah.
Yeah, Strata's sister's the mistress. And then you've got Rossi is a mistress of somebody. I mean, everybody's a mistress. It seems like a
hot mess.
Yeah. Cottage industry.
No joke. Okay, so the next few weeks were a whirlwind of appointments. The Emperor's jeweler, the Emperor's instrument maker, the Emperor's dancing master. Each encounter took me deeper into the heart of the huddle of buildings that composed the Imperial Palace, to the workshops, the residences that were reserved for Rudolph's prize artists and intellectuals. So
I mean, it's all going to plan. It's taken some time to develop, but it's happening.
Yeah.
And it's producing some things for the future that we need in other chapters.
Yeah.
It is planting seeds. So Gallowglass, being her escort, is taking her all over the place. Others wouldn't have access to this stuff. The Stagmoat, the greenhouse, all the places. Anyway.
Well, except one.
Except for the one, right?
Yeah.
That one.
But there was one place that not even Gallowglass could gain admission, the Powder Tower, where Edward Kelley worked over his alembic and crucibles in an attempt to make the Philosopher's Stone. We stood outside it and tried to talk our way past the guards stationed at the entrance. Gallowglass even resorted to bellowing a hearty greeting. It brought the neighbors running to see if there was a fire. But it didn't elicit a reaction from Dr. D's erstwhile assistant. Diana observes, it's as if he's a prisoner. Well, she was telling Matthew this later in the day, and Matthew says Kelley is a prisoner. They say he goes home occasionally, usually in the middle of the night when there's no one around to see. At least he gets some relief from the Emperor's constant demands. And then Matthew says, you haven't met Mistress Kelley. I hadn't. Perhaps I was taking the wrong route to meet the alchemist. I'd allowed myself to be swept into court life with the hopes of knocking on Kelley's laboratory door and walking straight in to demand Ashmole 72. Yeah, I don't know what she was thinking there. It's all about who you know, networking and all that. It's like rolling through your connections, like I'm sure all of us do at work, and I know we do in our hobby life.
Oh, yeah.
You have connections. There's back ways to get everything. So she's with the ladies, again, at the market, and she asked somebody, hey, Frau Huber, do you know my countrywoman, Mistress Kelley? What's up? Her husband is one of the Emperor's servants. Huber comes back and says, one of the Emperor's caged alchemists, you mean? Frau Huber said with a snort. There are always odd things happening in that household. And it was worse when Dee was here. So remember that wife swapping we were talking about?
Edward Kelley was always looking at Frau D with lust.
Ooh. And so Diana's trying to keep on track, because you can easily get distracted by these side stories. And she's like, and Mistress Kelley. And she doesn't go out much. Her cook does the shopping, Frau Huber.
Oh, my God.
Frau Huber's like, does not approve of this delegation of housewifely responsibility.
Frau Huber's got some really
She's opinionated.
exacting,
She's a little judgy here.
behavioral standards.
Yep. As they're discussing this exuberantly.
Yeah. The purloined kitchen staples really gave me pause.
Signorina Rossi is chiming in. She's like, are we discussing the alchemist's wife? Like, I want in.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, how do you two know so much? She revealed we share the same laundress, Frau Huber said. None of us have any secrets from our laundresses. Signorina Rossi agreed. So she used to complain. She thought the laundress was stealing her napkins. So she got fired.
No, she thought she was charging too much. She's cheap.
Oh, that's right. Charging too much to clean the napkins. There you go.
She's cheap.
So, a difficult woman, Jane D., but you cannot fault her thrift, Frau Huber admitted with a sigh. So, Signorina Rossi wanted to know, why do you need to see Mistress Kelley? Diana says, I want to meet her husband. I'm interested in alchemy and have some questions. And Frau Huber's like, will you pay?
Right.
What's up? And she's rubbing her fingers together in that universal signal of, hey, you got some money? And then, so Diana's acting stupid here. For what? Huber's like, for her answers, dummy. Yes, I agreed, wondering what devious plan she was concocting. And Frau Huber's like, leave it to me. I'm hungry for schnitzel. And the Austrian who owns the tavern near your house, Frau Reuden, knows what schnitzel should be. So they're headed off to get some answers. Here we go. And some schnitzel.
That sounds really good.
Yeah. Speaking of cabbage,
yes.
Got the schnitzel.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And a little spatzel. That'd be good.
Oh, perfect.
Wow, perfect.
Oh, speaking of spatzel, it's like Aldi's carries it in the wintertime in their freezer case, and it's really good.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. That's a reason to go to Aldi's.
We don't have an Aldi's, but my sister has one. And I was like, what is this place? What's going on? She's like, you have to look, but you find some gems in here.
Yeah. Their bacon is delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. And it's not expensive. And their strudel, they have frozen strudel in their case on occasion too, which is really good.
German, Austrian delights, Bavarian delights.
And Eastern European.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Austrian schnitzel wizard's teenage daughter, it turned out, shared a tutor with Kelly's 10-year-old stepdaughter, Elizabeth. And his cook was married to the laundress's aunt, whose sister-in-law helps around Kelly's house. Well.
Wasn't this something right out of like Clueless? I can hear Alicia Silverstone going da 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 da.
It's all in who you know, baby.
It's in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh yeah. Or 6 Degrees of Separation.
My sister-in-law's boyfriend's mother-in-law saw Ferris at the
right.
It was thanks to this occult chain of relationships forged by women and not Gallowglass's court connections that Matthew and I found ourselves on the Kelley's second floor parlor at midnight, waiting for the great man to arrive. And Joanna Kelley. She's a little sauced at this point.
Yeah. And in a few minutes, I really kind of understand why she is.
Oh, no shit.
Damn.
I mean, what did you guys think of this first read? And you're reading about her.
Oh, he's almost as horrible as Rudolph.
I know.
Yes.
I'd be drinking. Shit.
Oh, hell yeah.
So Joanna's in there, all drunk. He should be here any minute. Joanna Kelley assured us her eyes were red-rimmed and bleary, though whether this resulted from too much wine or from the cold that seemed to afflict the entire household was not clear. Oh, it was clear to me. She'd been drinking. Mm-hmm. So Matthew was like, do not trouble yourself on our account, Mistress Kelley. We keep late hours. How do you like your new house?
Oh, man, that was not the question asked.
Right?
Here we go.
Here it is explained, after much espionage and investigation among the Austrian and Italian communities, we discovered that the Kelleys had recently purchased a house around the corner from the Three Ravens, and a complex known for its inventive street sign. Someone had taken a few leftover wooden figures from a nativity scene, sawed them in half, and arranged them on a board. They had, in the process, removed the infant Jesus from his creche and replaced it with the head of Mary's donkey.
Oh, gosh.
Yikes.
The donkey in the cradle meets our needs as present, Master Royden. And she goes on to say, we had thought the emperor would set aside a house for us in the palace itself. See, they're not unlike the D's here, where she's like, they assume that we'd get a little place in the palace, but they kind of stiffed us here.
Yeah.
Given Edward's work, but this will do. A regular thumping sounded on the winding stairs. Here is Edward. So here we go. Here we meet this guy. He was fond of his dinners, gauging by his Falstaffian proportions. And when I first read this, I was like, Falstaffian. And then I had to look it up and I was like, Shakespeare.
Yeah,
That's
Falstaff.
why. Yeah, Falstaff. This is a jolly old dude. And
Except he's not so jolly.
no, this one, no. So, yeah, he's just walking into the house, la-di-da, and then he looks at Matthew and he's like, oh, fuck. Matthew rewarded the man with another one of those dazzling smiles and says, Edward.
I think we saw one of those smiles this season. Mm-hmm. I can't wait for more.
Imagine us meeting again so far from home. And then Edward's just like, how did you? Fuck. He looked around the room and his eyes fell on me with a nudging glance that was as insidious as any I had felt from demons, but there was more. Disturbances in the threads that surrounded him, irregularities in the weaving that suggested he was not just demonic, he was unstable. His lips curled. The witch. So that right there would have put, like, if I was Diana, that would have put me on edge and I would have watched everything. Like we were saying with Kayla's email, like she was just hyper aware after that. She saw he was unstable. It's not good. Her senses were up.
But I think, like Jean said, that the threads are tied together, and he knows something, she knows something, and they sense it in each other immediately.
They recognize each other for being able to recognize something that they have in common, which is the book.
Because this is the first time that Diana's mentioned threads that aren't basically attached to Matthew, too. I mean, or time.
True. So his lips curled, the witch. And then Matthew said, the emperor has elevated her rank, just as he did yours. She is now La Diosa, the goddess. Do sit down and rest your leg. It troubles you in the cold, as I remember.
Jeez, this is like something from the boys from Brazil. Oh, Lord.
You know, Edward's not having it. He's like, what business do you have with me, Royden? Joanna says, he is here on behalf of the Queen, Edward. I was in my bed. I get so little rest, and because of this dreadful ague, again, I have yet to meet our neighbors. You did not tell me there were English people living so close. She's upset and drunk.
I kind of don't blame her. I mean, if there's nobody around she can even talk to, I can see why she hit the bottle. Married to that?
Oh my God.
Not only married to that, but his activities that he not even encourages, forces her to do.
Yeah.
It's also unsavory.
I know. So she goes on. She goes, I can see Mistress Royden from my house, from the tower window. You are at the castle. I am alone, longing to speak my native tongue, and yet... And then Kelly's like, go back to bed, my dear, dismissing Joanna. Take your wine with you. Drunk. What a jerk. Oh, God. So she shuffles off, upset and sad, because she can't have any friends, and she's drinking and all of that. Poor Mrs. Kelley. Edward gets down to it. Tell me what I must do to get rid of you, he said bluntly. Kelly might have Kit's cunning, but he had none of his charm.
Wow.
That's pretty bad.
When Diana's admitting that Kit's charming.
Yeah.
I admire his directness. That's how I talk, you know. What do you mean?
Yeah. What do you want?
Blink,
What's
blink.
the bottom line? So, Matthew gives it to him straight. The Queen wants you. We want Dee's book. And Edward's like,
which book?
What book? Huh? And so here comes Matthew. For a charlatan, you're an abominable liar, Kelly.
Yeah, he's cunning, but he ain't that cunning.
How do you manage to take them all in? And then Matthew swung his long-booted legs onto the table, and then Kelly cringed when the heels struck the surface. Here comes Kelly. He's blustering. If Dr. D is accusing me of theft, then I must insist on discussing this matter in the Emperor's presence. That dude's not going to protect you.
Yeah.
Matthew's like, where is it, Kelly? Is it in your laboratory and Rudolph's bedchamber? I will find it with or without your help. But if you were to tell me your secret, I might be inclined to let the other matter rest.
Didn't he Plays the congregation card. I love it.
He's just being casual. He's picking a speck at his breeches like, The congregation is not pleased with your recent behavior, Kelley. He took Kelly's staff. He picked up Kelly's staff, which, Kelley dropped on the floor because he's all flustered. And then he touched the worn end to Kelly's neck. "Is this where you touched the tapster at the inn where you threatened his life?" And then he says, "That was careless, Edward. All this pomp and privilege has gone to your head."
He's calling undue attention to himself in violation of the covenant.
Kelly's like, "I can't help you." And then Matthew's putting pressure on the stick here. And then Kelley, he's rubbing his hand across his face. And then he's like, "It's the truth. The emperor took the book from me when..." And then Diana's chiming in. She's like, "When what?" She's all excited. She's going to hear something. And then Kelley, he's being kind of nasty to Diana. He says, "You must know more about this book than I do. You witches were not surprised to hear of its existence, though it took a demon to recognize it."
God, he's so full of himself.
Matthew chimes in again. "I'm losing my patience, Edward. My wife asked you a question. Answer it." Kelley comes back. He says, "You hate witches, so everyone believes. But I see now that you share Gerbert's weakness for the creatures. You are in love with this one, just as I told Rudolf." Damn. So the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah. Fuck you, Edward. And people hate Kit.
Yeah,
he's worse.
Kit at least sweetens it up with some nice, funny snark.
This is true.
Well, I'm just saying he runs to Rudolph, which is probably 10 times worse than whoever Kit blabbed to.
Telling the villagers about Diana.
Yeah. This one just went straight to the fucking source.
Yeah, it did. Okay. Here's another thing. He brought up Gerbert.
Yeah, here comes a whole skin-crawling passage.
Yeah, like Gerbert. So Matthew's tone was flat. Gerbert. Kelley nodded. "He came when Dee was still in Prague, asking questions about the book and nosing about my business. Rudolf let him enjoy one of the witches from the old town, a 17-year-old girl and very pretty with rosy hair and blue eyes, just like your wife. No one has seen her since, but there was a very fine fire that Walpurgis knocked." Well, they said spelled it out. Walpurgis night. Okay, Walpurgis knocked. Gerbert was given the honor of lighting it. Kelley shifted his eyes to me. "I wonder if we will have another fire this year."
No.
That was uncalled for, Edward. You know you were wrong for that.
You just lit the powder. Yeah, you just lit the powder.
Yeah.
It's on its way to the keg.
Okay. So here we go. Next thing we know, Matthew's holding Kelley out by his ankle over the fucking street out the window. Like, okay, you had it coming. You had it coming.
Oh, yeah.
Edward is getting some schooling from Matthew. "Look down, Edward. It's not a steep fall. You would survive it. I fear you might break a bone or two. I would collect you and take you up to your bedchambers. That has a window too, no doubt. Eventually, I'll find a place that is high enough to snap your sorry carcass in two. By then, every bone in your body will be in pieces, and you would have told me what I want to know." Matthew turned black eyes on me when I rose. He said, "Sit down."
No, he said, "Sit down." His eyes were black.
That's right. Sit down. There, that's better.
He added a please. He tacked the please on the end, too.
Then he turned around and he's like, "Please."
I forget myself. Sorry.
And just to know, this is not like something new that Matthew just dreamt up. This is like a
this is
tried and true sport in Prague.
Yeah.
Yes. He and apparently Matthew has done this before as quickly as he was ready to use that tool. So Edward is talking now. He says, "Dee's book shimmered with power. I could smell it the moment he pulled it off the shelf at Mortlake. He was oblivious to its significance, but I knew." Kelley couldn't talk fast enough now. When he paused to take a breath, Matthew shook him. He was like, "Ah!" The witch Roger Bacon owned it and valued it for a great treasure. His name was on the title page, along with the inscription, "Verum Secretum Secretorum." But Diana says, "But it's nothing like the Secretum," I said, thinking of the popular medieval work. "That's an encyclopedia. This one has alchemical illustrations." And then Kelley says, "The illustrations are nothing but a screen against the truth," Kelley said, wheezing. "That's why Bacon called it the true secret of secrets." And then Diana's really getting into this conversation. Never mind, he's hanging out the window, but whatever.
Well, me too.
Diana wants to know, what does it say? Were you able to read the words? And Kelly's like, perhaps. So Matthew pulled him up back inside at this point because he's giving answers now. And he's straightening up his robe. And then Matthew's like, yeah, he couldn't read the book either.
You stink of lies.
He can smell the duplicity through the fear. Sit down, please.
Oh, God.
So Kelly says it's written in a foreign tongue. Not even Rabbi Lowe could decipher it. And then Matthew wants to know, the Maharal has seen the book? Here comes Kelly. He's giving away more secrets. Apparently, you didn't ask Rabbi Lowe about it when you were in Jewish town to seek out the witch who made this clay creature they call
the golem.
The golem. Nor could you find the culprit in his creature. And Kelly looked contemptuous here. So much for your famous power and influence. You couldn't even frighten the Jews.
You know, Kelly keeps putting his foot in his mouth because he's got a dick swing.
Yeah.
And it never ends well for him. You would think he'd learn.
Well, he's been living high in the hog under Emperor Rudolf, so he thinks he's more important than he actually is.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then it's like, look at what I know.
Right. Exactly.
Good for you. Thank you for telling us, because now I know.
Diana chimes in and she says, I don't think the words are Hebrew. And she was remembering the fast-moving symbols. Kelly said they aren't. The emperor had Rabbi Lowe come into the palace just to be sure. His eyes shifted to his staff and the threads around him warped and twisted. An image came to me of Kelly lifting his staff to strike someone. What was he up to? Then I realized he was planning on striking me. An unintelligible sound broke free from my mouth, and when I held out my hand, Kelly's staff flew straight into it. My arm transformed into a branch for a moment before returning to its normal outlines. I prayed that it had all happened too fast for Kelly to perceive the change. The look on his face told me my hopes were in vain. He saw it. Don't let the emperor see you do that, Kelly smirked, or he'll have you locked away. Yet another curiosity for him to savor. I told you what you wanted to know, Royden. Call off the congregation's dogs. Then Matthew says, I don't think I can. You're not harmless no matter what Gerber thinks. I'll leave you alone for now. Don't do anything more to warrant my attention, and you may just see the summer. He tossed the staff in the corner. Good night, Master Kelly. And then Kelly, he had to have the last word here. He says, enjoying your moment in the sun, witch. They pass quickly in Prague. Yikes.
Yeah. You're right. Not unlike Kit. Having to get the last jab in there, even though you could raise the ire all over.
So she says, I can still feel his nudging glances in the street. And when I look back towards the donkey and cradle, the crooked and broken threads that bound Kelly to the world shimmered with malevolence. There we go.
Malevolence.
And that's the end of chapter 28. You guys have anything to add?
No, I just love that when they mention Rabbi Lowe that a new thread is born, a new path. Here we go.
Yes. Yeah. And what a teaser for the next chapter.
Yes.
Yeah.
My last thought here is Kelly's only in one chapter, but he comes off way worse than Kit.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
He's got no redeeming qualities. He is evil.
No, there's nothing likable about him.
No.
And I think the only thing that saves him, that he has the ability to decipher, use some of his demonic traits.
To me, I keep harking back to the tiresome every other week. Oh my God, I hate Kit. And then, 400 people chiming in with, oh my God, I do too.
Okay, people, he's not designed for you to like.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, when you put it on a continuum, it's like, okay, I understand he's not Hamish. But there's reasons for them to be constructed the way they are. But when you put Kelly and Kit together, it's like Kelly's not tempered by any kind of emotion or feeling. He's just nasty and evil and out for himself.
It's people's lizard brains as far as Kit is concerned, because he's in love with Matthew.
Oh, I know. No, I know, but you would think that should, to me, in a way, it should be a point of empathy. Yeah, it's a touchstone where, you got to have some empathy there. But with Kelly, there's like not a single, even when you stand in his shoes, it's just like, man, this guy's a raving asshole.
Yes.
And crazy.
Well, he's crazy, but not crazy enough to be beyond being the total grifter that he is.
Yeah. He knows right from wrong.
He knows right from wrong, and he's a total grifter vulgar, and he'll even throw his own wife under the bus or into his Mark's bed.
Diana comparing to him to broken and twisted threads would like seeing a muddy aura. The person's not insane. They're not mentally ill. They're just bad.
Yeah.
Their priorities are all fucked up, too.
Just point is he's way worse and nobody ever even brings it up.
Yeah. As the TV show made people see Baldwin in a different light and like him more or like him for the first time, that's not going to happen for Kit, I don't think.
Unless they cast Lin-Manuel.
But I just think, you know, we're saying people don't like Kit now and it's on continuous loop. I think that's going to increase by tenfold is my warning.
Oh, yeah.
When we see his devious actions, yeah. Yeah. All right. Going once, going twice. Anything? Sold. All right. Let's go on to housekeeping. Housekeeping. Who's got something?
I have something from Lindsay.
Go, Jean.
Okay.
And welcome, Lindsay. This is the first time we're hearing from her.
First time writer-inner.
Yeah, writer-inner. There we go.
Correspondent. Yes, I do have a vocabulary. Some days it just escapes me.
I like it. I like the substitution.
Writer-inner.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
That's good. That goes along with novelty. That's up there.
Yes. I'm brand new to podcasts, and I have absolutely fallen in love with Demons Discuss, and it's the only one I listen to. I first heard about you through Deb's blast email several months ago, and I just kept listening. I'm a therapist, which is often stressful and emotionally taxing, and I always listen to your podcast while I'm driving home at the end of the day. You are also intelligent, creative, and funny, and you always help me detach from my work and puts me in a good mindset to go home. I am so grateful to you and your work, and I look forward to more. Lindsay. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lindsay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're touched by that.
God, I know. Oh, I'm verklempt.
Lindsay, let me tell you a secret. This is therapy.
I was
for
just
us.
going to say, this is therapy for us, too.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to tell you all. This housekeeping segment was brought to us by Wendy Taylor. Yay!
Thank you, Wendy.
Okay. So, Angela, what do you have for us?
I have the one with the Rachels part 2.
Oh, God!
This episode should have been the one with the Rachels.
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, that's the name of the housekeeping, I guess. Hey, demons, just a quick message to share that y'all are as delightful as fuck. Far too many fandom podcasts lack the qualities y'all bring to the table. Intellectual curiosity and depth, intuitive ability to break down the ways in which fandom is intrinsically connected to the thematic and narrative structures of the work in question, wicked and authentic senses of humor. I'll pause there just to reflect. Thank you.
Oh, my God.
Thank you so much. Wow.
And you know that we appreciate a comment that we're as delightful as fuck. Who wouldn't want to be described as that?
Oh, man.
I really want to can I put that on a business card? Delightful as fuck.
Gene, what do you bring to the table? Well, I am as delightful as fuck.
I'm going to put that on my email signature at work. Delightful as fuck.
And we say that with sincerity, by the way.
No joke.
God, wow. I feel like I've achieved something in my adult life.
Right?
Oh, thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much.
That is so awesome, Rachel. Thank you.
I don't know. I'm going to just pause a second again. I don't know if you guys think the same thing, but when we three get a comment, I'm like, well, they got to be talking about Val and Jean, and really not me. I don't know if you guys ever think the same thing where you're like, are they really talking about me or just them?
They're not. I always think they're talking about Jean and they're talking about Angela because you two crack me the fuck up all the time.
That's funny.
Now, if it was ridiculous as fuck, I'd think it's probably me. Anything else, no.
Anyways.
Well, we don't take ourselves too seriously.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
Not at
God,
all.
no.
No. Okay.
All right.
So I have one.
Wait, I'm not even done.
Oh, my God. Go, Angela.
She goes on to say, it warms my cockles of my cynical and jaded Gen X heart to find the kindred fandom spirits who speak my language. Currently working my way through the podcast, and I'm really appreciating both your serious discussion of the works and your lighthearted and real-life, LOLing, inspiring banter. Well done. Looking forward to discussing this awesome series with you, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel. The Rachels.
Rachel squared.
Oh, my God. And she appreciates the Gen Xer in us.
Yes.
Listen, we love the boomers. We love the millennials in our own way, but sometimes it's tough being a middle child, okay?
It is way tough being the middle child, especially the middle child who came of age and
we get ignored often. We do in the media. everything. They ignore us totally. But hey, we're here to keep it alive, man.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think it was the New York Times. They posted this, how everything that was wrong with Gen X. And after you read it, you're like, that just said everything that was right with Gen X and how we set up the future for what everything millennials can do today. I don't get
Fuck
that.
Yeah. Fuck it. Millennials.
It's only 1 p.m. and this is the mood we're in now. That was a good email.
Boomers, we love you. But it's about Gen X today, okay? Okay.
Yuppers.
All right. Okay, so I have something from Chris. And Chris, this is her first time writing in.
Oh,
Chris,
yay.
welcome to, what did you say, Jean? What was that?
I said, yay.
No.
Writer inner.
Yes.
Writer inner. Yes,
a new writer inner. But Chris is actually a discusser. She did sign up to be a discusser. So, hi, Chris. She says, hello, demons. I had to email you because I don't think anyone else would appreciate it. Ha ha. I've been looking for anything written or edited by my late uncle, Douglas Radcliffe Umstead, and found 2 titles online from a used bookstore in Pittsburgh. When I received the package today, I had quite a laugh. Fucking Fire Drake. She sent a picture of covers of 2 books, and these Fire Drakes were there. And hang on. Let me pull up the email.
Wow.
I'll get you the title of the books here.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Let's see. The title of the book was Human Sexuality in the Middle Ages and Renaissance. So there you go. And there was a fire drake on the picture.
Fucking fire drake for sure.
Fucking fire drake. Hilarious.
Actually, it sounds like an interesting book to read, come to think of it.
Yeah. Well, we had the author, and I can put the link in the show notes for you guys.
I was going to say, Chris, give us a shout and a book review when you get done with it.
Yeah.
No joke. Wouldn't see how it actually is here. Let me see here. So there's that. Angela, don't you have something else for us?
I do a 5-star review.
Oh, my God!
Angela's alive.
Yes.
She remains alive.
Thank you, Mary B1. She gave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and she says, love these demon ladies. Discovered the world of All Souls with the brilliant TV adaptation, quickly read all the books, and then went looking for a podcast. These demons don't disappoint. They are funny, thoughtful, and clever, with an in-depth discussion of the books, TV show, and whatever else comes up. Give them a try and see if you can stop laughing.
Oh, my God.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much.
I guess housekeeping was all about pumping our egos.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, my God.
Thank you, all of you.
Yes.
Well,
that is awesome.
You used to put that at the end of our videos. We need adulation too, right?
Yes, we do.
And lattes. Adulation and lattes.
It keeps us going. So little to hang on to in this world. It's just that. We just need the cheers. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're glad we can bring you some cheers, too.
Exactly. All right, so now we're on to Save It for the Show, and it is brought to you by Ivana Ocurso. Thank you, Ivana.
Thank you. Ooh, we're going to be seeing you in like a month or so. So
Really
excited.
By the time you hear this, yeah.
It'll be a month about a month from the con.
Save it for the show.
Save it for the show.
Guys, save it for the show.
Okay, so this episode, Save It for the Show, the topic is tour time. Fast and furious things to happen after this. Go on, Jean, lead us.
Oh, man. Well, you guys are listening to this. Deb's in the middle of her whirlwind mini tour. Angela will have just seen her, and I will probably be seeing her when you listen to the night you listen to this.
That's right.
So-
when you're listening to this, Jean's going to be in Dallas in a
So watch
bookstore.
your Twitter.
Exactly.
No, actually, Dallas is going to be at the Alamo Draft House at
that's
a
right.
theater.
At a theater.
And we're getting an episode.
You guys are getting blessed with an episode, too.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I don't know, probably one. I don't know.
So you guys, weird as it may be, when we saw the tour stops, there is one stop at each of our backyards.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of scary.
I was like, what the fuck?
Right.
What fresh hell is this?
It's like, I'm going to visit the demons. I'm going to stop here, here, and here. Well, I'm not saying Deb said that, but
No,
I'm saying
right.
something,
That's what it looked
something
like.
happened.
That's what it looked like. I'm like, what? And then and number 4, it's Renee.
It's Renee. That's right. Renee will be in the Massachusetts stop.
She'll be at South Hadley.
That's right. Laura Ventura will be with me in Seattle. She's using some of those frequent flyer miles and come visit me.
Cool.
And we're going to chill out in Seattle. And Jean, I'm sure there's plenty of people signing up in Dallas. Come see you. So
not to
make
see
sure.
Me.
Well,
no, never to see me.
Come, go see Deb. And while you're there, take a glance at Jean,
Yeah.
and stop and say hi to her. Stop and say hi to all of us.
Yes.
Seriously.
Say hello.
Where were the stops last time near us for the publication? Mine was St. Louis. That was the closest. Yours was Oregon?
Austin. Mine was Austin.
Portland was mine.
Yeah. They were. Yeah. None of us went. We didn't make drive.
Oh, I made it down to Austin. I drove down to Austin in the rain.
That's right. She got the Barnes and Noble's
yes,
copies
that's
for
right.
us. That's right.
Yeah, and then I took those down to Book People.
Whoops.
Whoops, there it is.
There it is. I will be bringing Deb the T-shirts. I'll be giving her
the gift T-shirt. Oh, yes.
Yeah, the friend of the pod, and I will be giving her the gifts to take back to Wales with her to gift to Tristan.
Yes, and lovely Sarah.
And Sarah, his fiance, I don't know, wife by now, whatever. I don't know her. I don't know their lives, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think they announced her engagement on Twitter, so.
Well, she requested the Baldwin bus, and we're here to provide, so I will be delivering that to them. And I am going to give our TV Baldwin a demon shirt, mad, bad, and dangerous.
Oh,
to
that's
know.
awesome.
Since he does need a little bit of a warning label on him.
He does. He does. So.
That's my favorite one yet.
It is my favorite one, I think. Yeah. Our original Mad, Bad, and Dangerous is pretty cool. I just need to find a vendor that will do both sides as far as printing. And I think we'll resurrect those when I can find a good one.
Yes, those were fun.
That has the honorary place in my heart.
Yes.
And that has the Feed Your Demons on the back, which I love.
Yes. That was our first one. Good. After this, it's going to get crazy, I feel like.
Yes, very crazy. Well, if it isn't already crazy in 2 weeks, because I do have a feeling we will also be in the beginning stages of Black One, and Black One seems like it's going to be present day scenes.
July is going to be a madhouse.
July is going to be insane.
Well,
and this is our advice to everybody. Just keep your cool.
Yeah. They announced the director for
Farron Blackburn.
Yep. And he said that he is directing the first, last, and a few episodes in between.
Wow.
Goodness.
That's quite a few.
Cool.
And it's not like it's not like Block 1, Block 2, Block 3 like they did it the first time around. It's peppered in there.
Yeah.
And we have our Phoebe.
We
have our Phoebe.
We do have our Phoebe. So I'll put that in the show notes too. And I added it to our TV page, which is
already starting.
Yeah. Which is kind of growing, and eventually it'll be more than just a bunch of tweets. I believe we'll have more pictures and more things to share. But right now it's pretty much a collection of tweets and links. So I mean, if you missed anything, stop by. It's
all in one place.
It is. And that is visit.demonsdomain.com. I believe it's 8-Out TV News. Is that right, Angela?
I think so.
I think so.
Yes.
We'll go with that. So anything else for the Save It for the Show? This is a short and sweet one.
Well, the Save It for the Show, I guess it's like, guys, things are going to get crazy. It's going to get a little bit next level. Just maybe the caution is keep calm and be kind.
It's good.
Be kind. Because we do see some things that happen on Twitter where people get very
not kind.
Grabby. I don't know, for lack of things to say online. Grabby, like entitled, like give me the answers now. No, it'll all come out in due time. So just be patient.
Just be patient.
Be kind. It's coming.
Yeah. And unsolicited advice at this point is probably not necessary.
No.
And
for those of you who are wondering, when is season 2 coming out? Not till 2020, okay?
Yeah. So
not till 2020.
We can all calm down about that.
Cool your jets. Pump the brakes.
Anybody, if you're going to be anywhere around, try and get to a tour stop. If it's drivable, I mean, do it. I highly recommend it. It's a chance to meet Deb, see Deb, have a chance chance to chit-chat with Deb, and I think those chances are going to start becoming fewer and far between.
Is Wisconsin mountain time?
No, Wisconsin Central.
Oh, so she didn't hit the mountains.
Well, chit Dallas instead.
Yeah. So originally, I think the plan was 4 time zones. But
Yeah. Well, there's not much in. Where do you go on mountain time zone?
Denver,
New Mexico.
Yeah, Denver.
Oh, that's right, Denver. Well, she was in Denver. No, she was in Denver for the hardcover tour. She was in Denver.
Yeah.
So I mean, she didn't want to repeat a stop, and the only other options are basically Idaho and Utah.
She could have gone to New Mexico. She likes that Jean Cocteau theater.
Yeah, well, that's hard to get into, and isn't that George Martin's place?
Yep.
Anyway, if you were close to any of those places, she kind of zigzags across the country.
Maybe
up,
she
down,
wants new boots.
up, down.
Maybe she's shopping for more boots. That's why she's coming back to Dallas.
She got the northern portion, and she kind of zigzags
and weekend,
up
it
and
looks
down.
like a weekend at home.
I do have to say, not Dallas so much, but the other 3 are her original Discovery Witches places. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Third place
So she
books?
kind of went back to roots.
Yeah, we did third place books.
Yeah, we did for Book of Life.
Oh, that's where we met Pam.
Yes.
Or maybe I should say it was her Book of Life, because she went to Boswell also in Milwaukee for the Book of Life.
Okay. Is that what you saw her before?
These are all Book of Life.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Because you saw about her for Boswell for Book of Life. She was in Dallas, but at the Barnes and Noble.
No, we went to Austin. You and I went to Austin to the Book People for the Book of Life.
Oh,
I skipped Milwaukee to go to Austin with you.
Oh, that's right. And then for the paperback, she did Dallas.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I know, because she was also in Dallas, because I think that's where I met Teresa
Morrow.
M. Yeah,
Right.
she was there, and Tommy and a couple other folks, and Angel.
right.
A lot of folks that came up from Houston for that one because they had missed her at Murder by the Book.
Oh, right. So her tour stops, she used to have a very long tour schedule. But now that she's producing the show, she doesn't have as much time. She's writing a book as well.
Yeah,
So all that's coming up. So, be forgiving. And if you can make it and use some of those frequent flyer miles for those of you who frequently fly.
A road trip, whatever.
Or get in that car, start the engine, and go. Strap in and go if you want to see her this year. I think this is the opportunity. If you can't go to con, maybe it might be worth it to make the road trip. I don't know.
Or even if you can go to con, it'd probably be worth it to not have to lug books, because there is not going to be a signing, and there's probably not going to be an opportunity to get Deb to sign anything, because we're all getting book plates instead.
This is all last minute because currently we are in the middle of the tour.
Yes.
But if
we're time walking back, and you're hearing about all our preparations as we're driving to the tour.
I know. So as we are in the middle of the tour, if you're feeling spontaneous, hop in a car and go. All of those are listed on our website, and I will put a link to that in the show notes too. All the venues and what you need to do. Tickets if you need to purchase a ticket, if you need to purchase a book, what you need to do. It's all there.
Dallas it's a $5 ticket purchase. It's all redeemable in food, since they're having it at the movie theater. It's kind of strange.
That is. So
And
eat
they'll
your
have
$5 worth and then some.
Yeah, and then you can buy books there.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. Are we good?
We're good.
I think we're good.
We're good. So stick with us. Sit through the break. Take some notes during the break. Because it tells you where our social media is, where to find us, how to talk to us, all of that. Enjoy the break.
Yes. See you on the other side.
Find this show wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Contact us. We are at demonsdiscuss@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail, 360-519-7836. Or leave us one on SpeakPipe, speakpipe.com/demonsdiscuss. Hit us up on social media, and we are at Demons Discuss or at Demons Domain. Join our Facebook group, Demonic Discussers. The keys to get in are in the show notes. And if you're listening on your mobile device, click the description. It'll be there too. Become a discusser. And there are 2 ways to do that now. And if you're in the U.S., text ADOW as in ADOW, as in a Discovery of Witches. So text ADOW to 444-999 or visit demonsdiscuss.com. Scroll down, fill out the form, and spammer code, and that's it, you're a discusser. Visit our main site, demonsdomain.com, to see what we're up to. And if you like what you hear, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Keep Angela alive!
Oh, my last thought is I really need to get our panel done.
Oh, Jesus.
I've been digging and playing, but it's just like, oh my God, time is starting to speed up.
It is creeping up on us. Yes.
Big time.
Well, and rest assured, you can put any polishing touches on it. We have a flight ahead of us, Jean.
Oh, that's true. Yes, we do.
A transatlantic flight.
We've got a transatlantic flight in front of us, and I've got to fly up early in the day and meet you at the airport.
Yes.
So much
And you
fun.
people need to get sleep on that flight, too. So, I mean, use your time well.
Use our time wisely. Oh, God.
Although, who can go to sleep at like 5 o'clock at night? That's going to be tough.
I don't know. Booze it up. Do something.
Oh, they say don't do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to booze it up.
They said to take melatonin.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Figure it out.
I'm a demon. I do what I want. I don't care if you go.
That's it.
Yeah. I have kind of resigned myself to the fact we'll probably be up for a week.
Listen, I'm just going to purchase the Wi-Fi on my flight and we'll talk. That's it. we'll have conversations. Normally I'm pretty cheap with that, but no, I'm just going to go ahead and purchase the Wi-Fi.
Oh my God.
I got 9.5 hours to
And you might as well do it right in the beginning. Don't wait like 2 hours and go, oh, all right, now I want it. Just do it right for the beginning.
Yeah. It's like, no, I want the Wi-Fi. Come on, Virgin Atlantic. Let's do this.
Oh, see? Yeah, there you go. Although I don't know if British Airways will be like compatible. They may have some like...
I don't know. Is British Airways equipped? They have to.
I would think so.
They must be. Deb flies British Airways when she can't get on American.
Don't get me started on American. Every time we drop Angela off
I know.
at the American thing, I'm like, oh my God, this is like Ghetto Airlines.
Yes.
No, I thought it was United that was Ghetto Airlines.
No, it was American.
It's American.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. Although I'm going back and forth about just using my miles and flying into Midway and jacking around, or just paying for a cheap flight straight to O'Hare, so I don't have to drive across town.
Oh my God. No, United just treats their passengers shitty.
They just kill pets.
They kill pets. They beat on people.
Yeah. American just cancels flights whenever they fucking feel like it.
Every time we've like walked around and dropped Angela off at her gate, it's been like, what the fuck is this JKS?
Yeah, and that was LAX.
Yeah, that was LAX. I was
God,
like, what the fuck?
Oh, that is the worst. That is the worst. Because I know every time I finally told my office, if you can avoid it at all, do not schedule me on American, because 2/3 of the time, whatever flight I was on, it ended up canceled.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I mean, like they were always famous for canceling half the flights going to Oklahoma City all the time. I mean, and there not be a cloud in the sky.
You fly a lot on Southwest, don't you?
Yeah, if I can help it, I fly on Southwest. And I always
I can help it. It's usually Alaska for me.
I always laugh. It's like they're always sending me like drink coupons and stuff, and it seems like, okay, I finally use one, and then 2 weeks later I get 4 more in the mail.
They just try to keep you drunk on flights.
I rarely, if ever, use them. It's kind of funny.
Wow. Angela, how about you? Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it came up in your Facebook feed today because Jean posted a year ago today, Happy Best Friends Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it was a picture of us at Muriel's Jackson Square. I was having a French 75. You guys were having gin and tonic.
That was the ghost, the lady with the lady that was not happy about our ghost conversation.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, I remember that. Wow,
that was a fun afternoon.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun.
It was a con afternoon.
Yeah,
was it?
Yes, that was when we were down for the con.
That was the day we got there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the day we got there. It was before Deb arrived, too, because she tweeted out, and she's like, I'm on my way. We're like, we're waiting for you.
Yes.
When we tweeted back, we're waiting for you. No, I didn't see that. I shall look after we're done here.
Yeah. Yeah, it popped up. And then if you use the hashtag best friends forever, using number 4, a little Woody emoji pops up because Toy Story 4 is coming out.
Every one of those movies make me cry.
I know.
I don't know why.
I
don't know what it is.
Oh, that one was like traumatic.
I think for me, it's because
the end of Toy Story 3 was like, I would not let a kid watch that.
The first one came out, Asa was just a wee little boy.
Aww.
And then by the time Andy was going off to college, I was like, oh God.
I know.
It's like they timed it perfectly throughout his life.
With your
Yes.
head.
Yes.
And then, Asa had just left the nest when Toy Story 4 came out, and I was like, oh my God, so sad. Yeah, all those make me cry. That and Monsters, Inc. at the very end.
They're so clever, though, too.
I know. So was that your last thought, Best Friends Day?
Yep.
Yeah.
Happy BFF Day.
Happy BFF. BFF forever, 80 style.
80 style.
In the little triangle notes.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
the little, in the finger things.
Yes.
Yep. What
the game.
car is your favorite? Who are you going to marry?
I know.
Yes.
A, B, C, or D.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. All right. So my last thought, purple notebook guesses. That's still a thing, guys. Deb is working on a character that for her next book, she's outlining the character in a purple notebook.
Who's in the purple notebook?
Who's in the purple notebook? Who is it? And this is going to be an ongoing thing. I will put a link in the show notes as far as a survey question. Put in your question, your name and email address, and we will put it in with all the rest of the guesses. And when she reveals, we'll go through our answers and we'll give out a prize. We haven't decided the prize yet, but it's going to be good because we're usually good like that.
I have a big kind of speculation / whiteboard kind of thing.
Going on now?
Yeah, well, no. In this minute, I've got a feeling that I'm not saying that this may even come to pass, but I think there might be an intention that they hope it comes to pass.
Okay.
I think maybe they're trying to keep the process with the new book moving along at a quick enough pace so that they can have a symbiotic release with the next season, either just before or to follow the season on TV so the energy can feed off of one another.
Oh, well, that would be smart.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
I kind of get the feeling that that's where some of this is going, which is why Deb is so off the grid.
Right. Do you have any new guesses for us? Or
No, I'm still sticking with, what is my guess? My guess is kind of Miriam, I think.
Miriam, I think, is what you went with.
Yeah.
Angela, did you have any guesses?
No, I don't know. I haven't had any feelings strong enough about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I originally thought Baldwin, but I don't know. I really don't. Nothing I'd commit to because I might change my mind.
Although Deb did say she finally got ahead of steam back on Serpent's Mirror too. So
yeah, that I care about.
That I care about. Yeah. See, after you mocked me and told me my heart would break, and I was like, "Hey, yeah, I'm moving along on Serpent's Mirror." I was like, I was right.
I know. Okay,
But that's my feeling in general. Like I said, I'm not even kidding you. From the Book of Life, I don't even care what comes out. So I don't even have an opinion on what the Purple Notebook is, even if it's for fun.
Yeah.
I just want something. I don't care what it is anymore.
Yeah.
And at some point in time, someday, some way, I'd really like the Serpent's Mirror because I just want to know. I want to find out what the title's from because I have thoughts.
Oh, okay. All right. So to add on to my last thoughts, the con is coming. It's almost all planned. I don't know if there's going to be tickets available at this point in time. I'm not even going to guess. But if you guys are going to the con, we will have a vendor's table. So stop by and see us. We won't have T-shirts or anything. That's what a Redbubble store is for because I am not jewelry. I'm not hauling a bunch of T-shirts with me. So we will have some trinkets and jewelry for you to purchase. All proceeds will get folded back into our operation here. So that Patreon and our Redbubble store is keeping us afloat and helping us not crack into our personal budgets. So thank you for that.
Yes,
thank you
keeping
guys
us on the air.
Exactly. I think we may have a giveaway for those who aren't going. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we usually do. So
there won't be live streaming this year, but the main sessions will be recorded live. The fan sessions will not be recorded, but we're working on something with Laura and we're hoping to record footage of our TV panel to air later on our podcast. And yeah, that's it. Don't forget to visit our Redbubble store. Get yourself a t-shirt, a mug, a mouse pad, a pouch, something. I don't know. There's something for everybody. The Fitzio shirt still selling.
Scarves. Don't forget the scarves and the leggings.
Leggings, that's right. We have the
witch
Sarah's witch ball is on a pattern on a scarf and on leggings. I don't know. I can't attest to the quality of the leggings. I hope they're good. Shelley said she might try it out for me one day. I don't know. We'll see.
Dr. Shelley, let us know.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I have. Anybody else have any other things to add before we close this out?
Nope.
No, I feel like this was a good episode.
Yeah. Take that, Magic 8 Ball.
Yeah.
All right, let's say goodbye, everybody. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Demon kiss. Mwah.
We'll talk to you in a fortnight.